themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's always amazing to me, Lynn, and we may have talked about this before too, that somebody can come back from war that's been in the military for a couple of years and they're so apt at running a piece of equipment or this $1 million piece of defense piece or something like that, and they come back, they don't realize all the programs that are available and all the help that's available to them through our system. And that's always, to me, it's like, well, I didn't know. I had no idea. And that's always amazing to me because does that fall under, now there's nobody telling us what to do. We've been told what to do for 3-4 years, whatever your term is and stuff. And, and now you don't. And so you just kind of, some of us flounder. Some of us are not good self-starters. A Chucky Boozer is not a good self-starter. I have to really work at that.
You're exactly right. A lot of them come out because they came out of high school, went straight in the military. They've never had a resume. They've never applied for a job.
Right.
And you fast forward 20 years, 15, 20 years, even 10. And now it's time to get out. And the military has a transition program. I've read some of the materials. The materials are not bad, but the delivery of them is. They'll bring out 300 transitioning military men and women, and they'll put them through a 5-day transition program. And they spend a day on employment and how to get a job. They never talk about how to keep a job, so they come out not knowing how to keep a job. And in the military, it's like, here's your orders, here's your to-do list. And I'm oversimplifying. When you come out, you have to have creative thinking. And, oh gosh, I have a background in staffing and recruiting. So I get this, and I have coached people throughout my career and still do, but today it's only a few military.
When I worked at the shelter in downtown in Charlotte, down there at the Tryon shelter, I would help people fill out, and people would say, "You, Chuck?" And I'd say, "Who better to help fill out an application? Who's had more jobs than anybody? Me."
Yeah.
But I was good at it. There was one question that you had a hard time overcoming. What do you do in case you've been arrested for a felony? Because you're going to have to address that at one time or another. And if you lie about it, you're going to have to address it. And if you don't lie about it, you're going to have to address it. So
exactly.
You have to go to somebody. You have to, say, look, I got a situation here. Can we get beyond this? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you dealt with that full time, so you recognize all the little things, don't you?
Yes, and back to my point about the way the military does it, you put 300 people in a room, you can't raise your hand and ask a question. So when I coach groups, the group is never more than 15. Just like our retreats, we limit our retreats to no more than 10 families or up to 15 couples. So it's like the military also does retreats. They do weekend retreats. Ours are 6 days, 5 nights. So they will put 50 to 100 couples in a room, send the kids out to play, so the children are playing and they're not learning. And it's a Friday night. They gather for dinner Friday night, all day Saturday, and then Sunday they leave before lunch. So you don't even get 48 whole hours. But you have too many people in the room. We role play. We have them get up and play games. We have them sit knees to knees and eyeballs to eyeballs, hold hands, and have a conversation.
Amen.
And we teach them how to do all these things. And it's amazing to watch people who aren't speaking by the third day. Speaking,
yes.
They're not touching. They want nothing to do with each other when they come in. They've just driven to get here, so they're grumpy. And we meet them with a hug. It's like, hey, we're so glad you're here. A lot of what we do is just loving on them. And like I said, we're huggers. But at the end of the day, we gather typically like on a Sunday evening. We have dinner and campfires and get to know each other, do introductions. Is that our signal to pause?
Yeah, we'll take a little break and come back. We're talking with Lynn Morella here. She's from Eagle Rock Camp here. We're talking, it's Military Monday. We'll come back and talk about taking care of our veterans and what they do to help put veteran families back together, some of the things they're doing. And also what the Be Bad. Is that right? We're going to just explore that?
That's right, the Be Bad.
All right, we'll do that next on WHKY. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Military Monday from WHKY's On Second Thought program here on Monday morning, 13th of January. It's 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. People are streaming us at WHKY.com. We have Lynn Morella with us here from Eagle Rock Camp. And Lynn, do you remember what we were talking about?
Yes, I do.
I had a feeling you would. And we'll pick it up and go back from there. We were talking about some of the things that y'all do to help rescue families and make sure they get back together, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. I think where I left off is when they arrive, they're not speaking, they're not touching, there's no interaction between them. And by the second day,
Amazing.
they're holding hands.
Yes.
When they sit in the workshops, they've got their arm, the arm around the back of the chair. We see physical interaction. We see smiles. They start smiling on the first day. Second day, they're touching. And then our last night, we have a date night for them, and we babysit the kids. Our team babysits while they have a date night with a really nice chef-prepared meal. And if they don't know we have 3 rules on date night. They can't talk about 3 things: jobs, kids,
Yep.
or money.
Yep.
And so they sit there and stare at each other. So we have little date night cards because they don't know how to have a conversation.
A lot of people don't know how to do that.
It's normal. It's normal life. It's not just for the military. But And then the last night's talent night with singing and dancing and fun.
Oh, my Lord.
It's amazing, and it's emotional for our team. We love it. We wouldn't do anything else. I mean, I've had a very long, very great career. I'm a retired CEO, but this work just. Yeah, my eyes leak a lot. But I want to roll over. Right now, our business model has been using other people's facilities. We rent YMCA camps, church camps, things like that.
Okay.
And we're finding that as like through COVID, we had some hard lessons about costs skyrocketing post-COVID. Some of the facilities have stopped doing retreats. They're just gone back to their core business model. So. And also, when we move from one spot to another, the amenities change, which impacts our outcomes.
Sure.
So we use therapeutic recreation. We use the power of the healing power of nature. It's more than just workshops and classrooms. Workshops are only 3 hours a day, and the rest of the day, everything is planned and scheduled. But it keeps our team on the road. So now a 6-day retreat becomes 8 days. And also, the BBAD is our big, bad, audacious dream, and we are looking for help. We need to know who you know. Who do you know? I'm throwing this out to the bigger community. Who do you know that wants to help this dream come to fruition? We want to stay in the area. I don't want to relocate. I grew up moving around a lot.
Sure, absolutely.
And I wasn't a military kid, but I was an FBI kid.
I understand. Well, you've moved.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. Dad did national security work. We moved every 4 years.
Yeah, Methodist preacher. Sure, every 2.
Yeah, that stuff. So I'm tired of moving. But, yeah, if we can we want a facility in the local area. We are looking at a farm that's in the region. And anyway, we need help with that. And one thing is just awareness. And you asked earlier, I didn't answer the question, how do we find our people? Most of it's word of mouth because we're that good that they go home and tell everybody they know.
There's somebody listening right to us right now. I feel like a preacher. I feel like one of the televangelists here. But there's somebody who's listening who knows somebody because we've had people on this show. Moore Patton has connected everybody over. We had can't think of the gentleman's name had all the Little Caesars Pizza they just know people and have given us information. Have you called this guy? The guys up at the racetrack. So there's somebody out there listening to us right now. Let's make sure we're very definitive in what this dream. We're looking for a facility. You're looking for maybe some acreage with a farm, something that we could do retreats on, where you could do some week stayaways for the families. Is that right?
That's correct. As we find property, the bigger challenge is going to be building and development. So we are trying to do 2 things, which I've been told is not done in the nonprofit world. But that's never stopped me before. I'm that little girl that stomps her foot and says, I can do it. And it's to grow our program at the same time so we can do more and more and more retreats. And we do have now 3 facilities that we're looking at that can go on that journey with us. And so we're in the vetting and visiting process with that. So we're trying to raise funds for that, but also at the same time, we'll be raising funds for what's called a capital campaign to buy land. Hopefully someone would donate it or at least sell it to us at a greatly reduced price.
Sure.
And then we have to start building, and we have to build cabins for families and a small dining hall that seats about 50 people. But the land needs to not be on the highway or it needs to be peaceful and quiet and away from noise and
a retreat. Yes,
a true retreat. And so we're looking at that at the same time. Now, donations for building out can come with naming rights. So if you want to make a
In somebody's
legacy
memory.
gift, in
Yep,
somebody's
fantastic.
memory, or to honor
Yep.
someone, or honor your military group your cohort that you left, whatever. We'll have naming rights for everything there.
I don't think there's any chance it's probably going to be named the Charles W. Boozer Retreat. I just don't. I'm thinking right away, my kids. It sounds good. I mean, just really. Why are we going? We're going to Charles Boozer. We're going to Boozer's place. Come on. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think my kids.
Yeah, but it happens. We see that a lot
Yes.
at the facilities we do use. They're named after
Absolutely.
people.
Lynn, our people, we deserve, I know this is what the VA is about, but sometimes they fail in what they try. And those people, I'm not knocking the people of the VA that make their efforts and stuff. But if our people are serving this country and get broken, then we should fix them. And that
Absolutely.
should be the number one priority. And I'm from a military family. Freedom ain't free. And if our boys and girls are broken, then they deserve everything. I mean, this Tunnel for Towers, I give to Tunnel for Towers. I give to the Wounded Warriors. I mean, that's just me. Y'all can do whatever you want to. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just telling you what I believe. And I give my hard-earned money to organizations like this because I think they do good work. And I'm pretty stingy about what I give away. Because I want it to be used for good stuff. But I think to help to help our vets and stuff, I think, gosh, it's something that we have to do this, it's too bad we have to do this. Too bad the government's not picking up this and running with it as hard as they could,
We don't want the government to do it.
I know. They wouldn't do it as good. I know. So I'm not knocking the people who are with the VAs.
I don't either. They do a good job, and they're the right fit for some.
Did you get a message? Did you get a calling from somebody? Did you get a message in the sleep, or did you get a message from the Lord or something to bring this up, to make this? How'd y'all come to this idea?
I was having a sleepless night, and I've heard about a piece of property on the market up in Marquette, Michigan, which is primarily where I grew up. And it's one of those dream places. It's 5,200 acres on Lake Superior.
Wow.
With almost 2 miles of waterfront.
Oh, God.
Problem is, people aren't going to. Our veterans have been very clear. We will not drive over the 5-mile-long Mackinac Suspension Bridge to get to the Upper Peninsula. So we're like, okay, never mind. But I was looking at it, and I felt a nudge on my shoulder, and I'm like, what? I literally thought someone had touched my shoulder.
No.
And I'm like, what? And I turned around, and no one was there. And I just heard this calm little voice that said, I want you to do this. And I'm like, do what?
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't start out to serve veterans. We started out to serve adults that had suffered a debilitating injury, because my brother was a quadriplegic as a result of a horrific car accident when he turned 18. And I wanted to do that to honor him. But it quickly, as we were doing focus groups to figure out what to do and how to do it, the veteran kept coming up. Every time I turned around, there was a veteran. And they were physically wounded at first, but then we started looking into what's really going on. And it's those moral and spiritual injuries that the VA can't treat because they're not allowed to have faith anymore in their practices. And in fact, they still have chaplains in the VA system, but they're not allowed to pray out loud. They're not allowed to give you a Bible. You have to ask. So, yes, that's been a stumbling block for me. And that happened earlier last year. So, not being political here. But anyway, we just kept bumping into it. And so that's what it turned into. But over the years, and even now, we started our first retreat in 2013. So we're 12 years old in August. I've been frustrated with the lack of growth, but come to find out we weren't ready. Early last year, I kind of got the old expression, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
I kind of got that. Hold my beer. Yeah.
Do I ever? Listen, we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a quick break and come back. All right. It's about a quarter till the hour here. Stay with us. We have Lynn Morella on here from Eagle Rock Camp. We'll tell you how you can help out, and we'll finish up what the big audacious dream is, the big be bad. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's Military Monday, sponsored by Mountain Mitsubishi. Hang on, we'll come right back. 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. From anywhere, WHKY.com. Chuck Boozer live on the radio. Coming on back. 35-degree Monday morning from WHKY, 1290 AM, 102.3 FM. From anywhere at WHKY.com. All right, down to 25 tonight, 43 tomorrow, 39 on Wednesday. So freeze, cold. What they call this? What, winter? Oh, that's right. Lynn Morella's with us here from Eagle Rock Camp. Lynn, thank you and welcome back here. We're just talking about things that y'all do and ways we can get in touch with you here. And we're talking about your big, audacious dream. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that is, we're looking for a facility. And so, are you putting this out there in the universe to try to manifest this and try to see if we can't get this thing rolling? Is that what's going on?
Absolutely. I think when we left off, I was talking about the nudge on my shoulder and the yeah. So I lightheartedly said, "Hold my beer and watch this." Kind of came from God, I guess, and that was the first of the year. And this past year, 2024, has been a phenomenal year with planting seeds, getting us ready. And even down to the board members that we have, we've never had a board of directors like this before, and they are amazing people.
I'm into
and
this.
They're just like, let's get her done. We've got to build this. We've got to do it now. Yep. We've got to grow the organization. So an interesting thing that question that has come up repeatedly is, will we use the facility full time? Full time for us is about 22 to 24 retreats a year, maybe put in a few like reunion retreats where we're not working quite so hard and all. So what do we do with the retreat center the rest of the year? So, there's 52 weeks in a year. We cannot do 52 retreats. We'll be down a couple weeks for maintenance problems or concerns. But we want to have collaborative partners there. Ones that come to mind would be an organization like TAPS. It's Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. They work with the Gold Star families. If they wanted to come and do a small retreat there, they would be welcome. Anybody else like that? There's a nonprofit in Charlotte that does reunion retreats to bring units back together, which they're finding is very healing. Maybe they need a place to go. We're going to have conversations with a couple of other bigger, more mature organizations than us to see, can we be another location for them? So that'll help us. A nonprofit is allowed to have a revenue stream. A nonprofit is not a way of type of business. It's a IRS status. So we are allowed to have that revenue stream. So we can partner with other organizations and let them, welcome them to come to us because I think the major thing when we go to other locations like a church camp or YMCA camp, they may or may not understand the veteran.
Right.
And one thing we have to be cautious of anywhere we go are triggers. We need to make sure there are no triggers that could unexpectedly pop up.
Right.
So they would know we understand the military, we understand the veterans and the families, so they would feel safer coming to us. So that's another thought that we had this year was how do we make it all work and what do we do with it with a facility when we're not using it? Will we let other veteran serving groups do it? It's a business model we haven't seen anywhere in the country. But my business background says do it this way.
What type of business were you CEO of? I
was the second largest franchise owner for the largest staffing company in the world called Adecco.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so you know how to get people organized and pick them out and say, okay, you're going to be good at this, you're going to be good at this. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Get it done. Let's go. Get it done. Get back with me.
Yeah.
I love this, Lynn. This is great stuff here. I have myself had some situations with what you're talking about, and there'll be things that'll start to happen here if it does and takes over, and you'll say, how did that happen? And you and I will know. And those out there will know too, but it will become supernatural and it will become with that divine intervention type thing. And I tend to believe in things like this myself here. Enough people get going, 2 or more gathered in his name. Certainly we have,
Yeah. And Chuck, in the very beginning, God didn't make me a promise. And he said, Eagle Rock, he called it camp from the start. Eagle Rock came from somebody else. I didn't name this. But he said that camp would be so big that when people see it, they don't see me. They only see him. So I'm getting emotional saying that.
Yeah.
It's front of mind for our team that people have to see God in this. They just have to. So that's why we are faith-based. We don't evangelize. We do not proselytize. We are not affiliated with a denomination. All faiths are welcome. You don't have to have a faith background to come. We do use biblical principles wrapping around our marriage and family program. So that's the only place.
Those are pretty tried and true.
Yes, they're tried and true, and they work. If you follow them, you have a good marriage.
Here's a way to get in touch with y'all. info@eaglerockcamp.com or .org. info@eaglerock eaglerockcamp.org. Also, 704-325-3350 is the phone number. They're located at 113 First Avenue South in Conover, 28613. If anybody out here is listening to us right now and so feels moved, touched by anything that you've heard from me or from Lynn especially, and you want to get in touch, and you forget these numbers, it'll happen. It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen here. So we're looking for a facility. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for some acreage with maybe a farm or something like that to be donated, to be loaned to at a very good price or something like that, so we can help out these military families. Eagle Rock Camp's mission statement at this point: saving families, saving lives. And I believe that family certainly is the backbone of our country too these days. Don't you think?
Absolutely. I think the deterioration of the family is, it's countrywide, and it's going to have devastating effects on America in the long run.
It doesn't matter, black, white, red, yellow, green families and everybody. We all need to sit at the table and say, how are you today, son? Did you have a test today? What'd you do on your test today? How was we need to have those conversations, and we don't anymore. That's the downfall of the family, I guess. And that's really not in any color or anything like that, too. Lynn, thank you so much for being with us and coming back and talking to us.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here.
Anytime you have some time, come back, would you please? And bring food next time if we could ask you about that. Bring a sandwich or something.
Bring a sandwich.
I'm just teasing. I'm just kidding. Just see if you're awake in there. You are.
Hey, I'll give one of our sponsors a plug. Didn't O'Charlie's bring you food a couple times?
I think they did. We're trying to get an O'Charlie's Monday going with them, and I think I like O'Charlie's. I like that place too.
I can talk to Amy.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get them going in here, would you please? All right. Well, this is Lynn Morella here from Eagle Rock Camp here. Once again, to get in touch with them, was that all the right, correct stuff here, Lynn, that I gave you?
It was. If it's appropriate for me to say this, if somebody would like to just donate, they can go to our website, eaglerockcamp.org, click on Give. Takes you to our donate page, and we haven't done it yet, but within the next 30 days, by the end of February anyway, we are rolling out a monthly donation program, and it's just we're asking for $19 a month. Most people have it, and typically when you sign up, you forget it's there, and it just goes on your card every month. And that's one thing that any nonprofit out here will tell you, that the retention rate of those donors is the highest of any donor we have. And it can
continual giving.
Yeah, and it creates a steady stream of revenue that we can count on every month, which is so critically important to the success of an organization.
If you don't get money from donations and things like that, where does it come from, Lynn?
We have been our funding model is a little bit sideways, because a nonprofit should receive most of their funds from donations. Ours has been grants and a few corporate sponsors.
Okay.
So the public struggles to understand the need of the military. Why can't they just suck it up and get a job and do life? It's because they can't.
No.
No, doesn't work that way.
No, unfortunately it doesn't here.
No.
Yeah. So budget-wise, do we know what a budget is for a year at this point?
We are trying to grow from, we are growing from $250,000 a year up to $1.5 million.
Wow.
It's a great big goal.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's doable, and that's our first step. Our next step is probably going to be to add another $1 million to that, because we need to rock and roll and get this done. Too many people are dying by suicide, and
I agree.
It's got to stop.
I agree. We lose vets every day to suicide, many of them every single day.
And one thing that we do is, I like to say it this way: you have ideations of suicide when you can't do life anymore. And then when you're isolated, we give them a life that they don't want to escape from.
All right. Lynn Morella here from Eagle Rock Camp. Info at eaglerockcamp.org. Lynn, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Come back and let us know how it's going, okay, please?
Will do. Thanks.
Okay. All right. You betcha. Good to see you. Thanks so much. We'll take a little break. We have news coming up, and we'll be back in just a couple of seconds. This is On Second Thought. This is WHKY. Chuck Boozer. Hang on.